Hey everybody, welcome to episode 68 of the Joys of Games podcast. We are recording this on a very unusual night, Monday evening, November 13th, 2017. I am one of the hosts this evening. I am Josh Brown. I am not joined by the regular co-host, Colin Wheeler. We've been unable to kind of make it work out schedule-wise. So instead of Colin, I went to one of my favorite co-hosts of all time to fill in tonight and kind of also act as an interviewee and kind of tell us about a new project and a new game that he's involved with. I am, of course, talking about none other than Matt Sonnenberg. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Josh.
How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm doing very well.
Good. We are getting ready to record our Harry Potter podcast, and we're squeezing this in right before it.
Very true.
Just to pull back the curtain on this whole charade that we got going on here. No, I wanted to get you on this week for Joys of Games. It is our etc. episode, which leaves it wide open to interpretation. Whatever we want to talk about or do with this week it is up to us. And you have personally launched something new that kind of fits into this non-conforming week that we have in our rotation. And I kind of wanted you to tell us about everything, tell us about the game itself, and then we'll chat a little bit about an upcoming trip that you have that's also super game related. So
very much so.
That's why I brought you on here, Matt. And you know, give you a chance to plug this new project and get some more people out there aware of what you're doing and checking it out. So, hard-hitting question number one, Matt.
Yes.
What is this new project?
Well, the new project that you're referring to, I believe, is called Need More Buffs. This is a podcast. We know you like podcasts.
I do. Uh-huh.
Yes. This podcast revolves around the Lightseekers trading card game, or TCG.
Okay.
And it's just one of my many efforts to try to get this game the attention that it deserves.
Right.
Yeah.
Fans of the show may be familiar with Lightseekers. They kind of launched the Lightseekers brand as the next evolution of Toys to Life action figures that sync up with your mobile device to play and act as like a controller, essentially, to play this digital game, this free-to-play game. This whole brand new universe that they created around this Lightseekers brand. It's a big thing. You know, we loved it over at Toys for Games. But there was another like subset part of this universe that they rolled out, which was crazy because a brand new IP, and they're like, hey, we're going to put out figures and toys and this digital free-to-play game, and then we're also at the same time launching this collectible trading card game.
Yeah.
Which is completely separate than what's going on in the digital side of it.
Although they did manage to tie it in.
Sure. I mean, they have to, right? But one isn't necessary for the other.
No, they are completely independent, or can be played completely independent.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, the best part, the most interesting fact I find about this is that the trading card game was not part of the original plan.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard this story.
I don't know if I have.
I discuss it with them in episode 1 of Need More Buffs, but just a quick overview here that they were originally just planning the mobile game and the figures.
Okay.
That's what they were working on.
Sure.
But in the development, two guys, they had a certain task that they were set to, and as they were trying to figure out how it would work in the game, they realized, they were kind of like describing a card game. Like, this could work as a card game. And they just started putting together over their lunch breaks. And finally, once they had enough material, they went to the head honcho and said, hey, we think we have something here. And that's when they decided, to add the card game on top of everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is scary, for a new company, that's like launching this thing that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, this IP, this game is their only product right now.
Right. They're tasked with getting the people to be aware of this thing, like the Mindshare, get that out in the world and get people familiar with a whole brand new thing. And then just like, yeah, we're also going to add this whole completely different, but still part of the experience game just because we can.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason they did it is because of how well it ties into everything. Like I said, it's using the same world, so they use the same characters. A lot of the same artwork is in there, and they were able to, like they said, it was in the development of one part of it came this other part. So they were already tied in together, and now, of course, these cards they went the whole AR route, like we saw in Skylanders Battlecast, and. So not only can you scan them into the game just to have your collection or whatever, but and have the little cool AR effects, but then they give you in-game bonuses for the mobile game.
Right.
Like, it's not anything that's required for the game. It doesn't open new areas like you would see in Skylanders and that type of thing. It just gives you like a health boost or something like that, or I think some of them give you like a temporary companion to follow you along and fight alongside you, that type of thing.
I'm glad you brought up the Skylanders Battlecast because that was something that both of us were very much interested in. Everything looked good on paper. It was a brand that was already familiar. It was characters that we were already familiar with and knew and loved. And it was a different way to play Skylanders, is what we thought,
Yeah.
And everything worked on it.
It was
as advertised.
Game. Yes.
The only problem, which was something that we looked at from the very get-go, is just like, ooh, I don't know about this, was that you couldn't play the card game without
physically
being online with your mobile device.
It was a physical card game that could only be played digitally.
Right.
It does not make that does. How did you do that?
Yeah.
I mean that's where it just screams cash grab. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Because they made cool cards. Like they would have been really fun to collect, but there was
honestly,
little
I
incentive.
collected them all. I have my full collection.
Right.
I'm not getting rid of that thing.
Sure.
I love those cards.
Yeah.
They're great cards, but
you wish you could do something with them.
Exactly.
They were great for collectors, but not great for people that like to play collectible trading card games.
But at the same time, I do have to thank them a little bit, because without Skylanders Battlecast, I'm not sure I would have given Lightseekers a second thought.
Sure.
Because I haven't been in TCG. Like, I have never fully 100% committed to a TCG before. I've been around people who play Magic. I've been around people who play Pokemon. But I've never invested myself. And so when Skylanders came out, it was something I was heavily invested in already. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get into this because I had to do it for the site, but then turned out I really liked it. I really enjoyed I honestly played Skylanders Battlecast every day.
Right.
Until it died, until they shut it down.
Yeah.
But it kind of showed me, it's like, okay, yeah, I like this thought process. I like the competitive nature. I like the cards and trying to chain them together and make things happen.
Sure.
It's this is for me. And so, like, when Lightseekers came out and it was a mobile game, and I'm not a big mobile gamer. I like my consoles better. And so I tried the mobile game, played about an hour's worth, and couldn't really get into it. And like, and the figures, I understand, but if I'm not going to play the mobile game, I'm not going to collect the figures right now. But then there was this card game.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I just had a lot of fun with a card game that got shut down. And so I need to look into this because I have that bug. I have that itch. And I needed to scratch it with something. So part of the reason I've never gotten into like Magic or Hearthstone or Pokemon is there's just so much content out there.
Yeah.
I just feel swamped. I feel lost. I feel behind the game.
And it's hard to just jump in at this point.
Exactly. Like I don't know where to start even.
Right.
I don't know. I've started learning some of like the different terminology they use and stuff because those are where some of our Lightseekers players are coming from. And so it's useful to know their terminology and know how their game is played. But I just love that I could get in on the ground level. I'm in there in the trenches learning this game with everybody else. We're all getting the same cards at the same time. It's not. It doesn't feel overwhelming at this point.
Right. And your love for this game, got you into starting up a website, right?
Yep. Yeah, I started up deliverycrab.com
to fill a void in the Lightseeker trading card game spectrum.
Yes. So deliverycrab.com is a site where I sell singles, which becomes a very important part of any TCG. I think most TCG players will tell you that. It can kind of be a scary market to get into because you're just going to get overloaded with so many common cards and have nothing to do with them and all that type of thing. But at the same time, it's something that's needed. Like I was talking to a few people down at my local card shop, and they're like, yeah, we like this, but if they're going to make it, they need to get on TCG Player. Like, what's TCG Player? And it's like, TCGplayer.com. It's a single site. It is like the single site in the U.S. apparently for all TCGs.
Sure.
And they're like, yeah, if this game is gonna make it, their cards need to be on there because it's a site that allows anybody to sell cards.
Right.
Like, so you don't have to build your own site. And
Yeah.
so they have their database of the cards there. You just have to go and say, oh, I have this one for sale, and this one for sale, and this one for sale. And
So it's like a Craigslist for single cards.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the items are already up on the site, so you don't have to list them
Gotcha.
per se.
Okay.
You just have to kind of like check off which ones you have and list your price.
Sure. So this is important because, buying packs gets expensive and you wind up with doubles and triples and
unlike Battlecast, unfortunately, Battlecast did not reward you for having 2 or 3 of the same card. Like, there's no benefit, really. Whereas in most TCGs, including Lightseekers, you can have... So in Lightseekers, you can have up to... of the basic action cards, you can have 3 of them, 3 of the same card in one deck.
Okay.
Right? So you can have 3 of. In Magic, I think that's usually 4 of. But getting a duplicate card is not the worst thing in the world. It's still very much something that you might use.
Sure. However,
Yeah.
that is valuable. But when you're building out, like, when you start playing with the cards, right, and you start getting familiar with how to build the best deck that you possibly can for what type of game you want to play, because there are different strategies and
Absolutely.
different ways to attack a game.
Yeah.
So you start getting familiar with, like, which cards fill out a specific deck in a specific way, and finding those specific cards in random packs gets difficult.
It does, very much so.
Hence the need for a website that sells single cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Matt.
Thanks.
You nailed it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get in early, and not only for my own benefit, but like I said, I want this game to get the recognition that it deserves. It's a good game. It's a solid game.
Right.
They got it right somehow right off the bat. I mean, sure, there's a few cards that, like, they already have an errata page up. Like, they have to make a few corrections. The wording is a little wonky on some of the cards.
Sure.
You have to clarify a few things, but that happens in every game. That happens in Magic today. Like, with new cards they're putting out, they always have to make corrections and clarifications and stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's just part of the game. But the best part is they're on top of that.
Right.
I love how interactive PlayFusion, that's the company that's behind Lightseekers, how interactive they've been with the community.
Right.
Like that was another big draw once I started. Like, I love the game, but I love the team behind them.
Sure.
There might only be, I don't know how many for sure, but like 15, 20 people on the team, it feels like. Maybe they've hired more by now.
Yeah.
As they've been growing, but it was a fairly small team, and I have, I think, like a dozen of them following me on Twitter.
Right.
And I've talked to at least half a dozen of them personally, whether it be through social media or email or even on Skype.
Right.
It's like they're very easy to talk to. They're very easy to get a hold of. They respond to your questions. They're in the forums all the time. They're proactive about getting answers out there and getting information out there. It's been a great experience so far.
They've done it right from day one, like since they first announced that this was going to be a thing. Like, they have been in the trenches, putting their heart and soul into everything that they do to make this work, and it shows. It really does show. They didn't just launch something and then dust their hands off and walk away from it and just sit back and watch the money roll in. Like you said, they're active daily in every aspect of it to make sure it is providing the experience that they set out to provide.
Yeah.
So your podcast. Tell us about the podcast, how often it happens, where people could find it, what to expect from that podcast, and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, the podcast itself, like I said, is called Need More Buffs. It just launched last week. New episodes will be coming out every Tuesday. So we actually, is this launching on Tuesday?
It will, yes.
Okay. So there will be a fresh episode waiting for you.
Right.
Need More Buffs. You can head over to needmorebuffs.com. That'll take you to all the episodes. There'll be a player there if you want to listen to there. Otherwise, we are on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, big top 3 there. If you just want to grab the RSS feed and throw it into your own player, that works too. Those links are all there. The podcast itself, the first episode does not follow my formula. Actually, the first 3 are kind of off a little bit. The general format of the show is going to be, I invite a player I've met through. It's surprising how many different areas I've grabbed players from, but I take a player I've met, invite them onto the show. We talk about their background in TCGs. We talk about how they found out about Lightseekers, why they like the game, all that type of stuff. But then the big kind of main event is I have them bring on their favorite deck list, a deck that they've built, and I have them run through it. I always list the deck out on the show notes, so you can go back and listen to it. Well, you can read it. You don't have to write it down as you're listening or anything like that, because I know people listen to podcasts on the go all the time. You're not going to be able to remember all the cards or write it down or whatever.
Right.
So we have those resources there for you. But we then talk through how they put that deck together, why they put that deck together, why those cards are in there, what's their strategy. If someone would use this deck, what do they need to watch out for? What strategy can beat it? How do you counter that? All these types of things that I think are going to be valuable to players just getting into the game now. But where the show will go in the future, I could see it growing immensely. Right now, I can't really give you a lot of news per se, because there's just not enough happening right now.
Sure.
Because we're like I said, we're at the ground level. We're in the beginning stages. We're just getting started. not only with the podcast but the card game as it's growing. They're doing all they can. They have their team out multiple days per week visiting local card shops, teaching people how to play.
Nice.
And getting these cards in the stores.
Right.
Like they're like I said, in the trenches, really, literally, out there with the people, teaching them how to play.
Which is awesome, that's what they have to do for a brand new game.
Yeah, I've been trying to do the same thing over here. Unfortunately, they're based in the UK.
Right.
So the UK, it feels like the UK is getting a little bit of special treatment right now, but they know they have an audience over here in the US, and they're doing all they can over here. Yeah. They were already at Gen Con in Indianapolis a few months ago. I forget when that happened. Wow, that was actually a while ago.
Time is just irrelevant sometimes, man.
Yeah. Now they've also had a presence at other conventions already, like PAX West and some of the other Comic Cons too. I think like Emerald City, Rose City. I think they've been at those.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't always the folks directly from the Lightseekers team.
Okay.
They've been having a company, I believe Cascade Games, has been running things for them here in the U.S. when they can't make it over.
Sure. Which, you're asking a lot to have people fly over across seas to come to conventions.
Yeah. But from what I gather, maybe if you've been in the TCG world, you may have heard of Cascade Games because they seem to be a pretty major player. They kind of run tournaments for other TCGs.
Oh, okay.
That seems to be what they do.
Okay.
Because like I was looking at the upcoming PAX schedule, and like Cascade Games is hosting like all these Magic tournaments and Lightseekers tournaments and like everything.
Cool.
It's like I don't know how many people they have in their company, but they seem to be doing an awful lot. So
yeah. Cool. So you mentioned events and whatnot. There's a little convention coming up next weekend, actually. This coming weekend.
Yeah.
The very first
one.
In
2 or 3 days, actually.
Yeah, you're going to it. Lightseekers will be there. Now, do you know if it's going to be the Lightseekers team or if it's going to be this other team?
No, they are going to be there.
Okay.
A large contingent of them. So Cascade Games is officially running it.
Okay.
But the Lightseekers team is showing up because it's a big event, and we can get to that in a minute.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So tell us about what PAX Unplugged. This is the very first PAX Unplugged event. It's happening in Philly. That's Philadelphia for those
international listeners.
You're right. This is the first Penny Arcade Expo that is dedicated solely to board and card games.
Yeah.
Right.
So, a lot of people are familiar with PAX West or PAX Prime, PAX East, PAX South,
PAX Australia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's been a lot of PAX, but it's always been that weird split of, are you there for video games? Are you there for board games?
Yeah.
Like where do you go? Like I've never, there's always, it felt like there was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I love this idea of getting PAX Unplugged where as much as I love video games, I get to focus on the board games, which is great because I love board games just as much, if not more, than video games.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was pretty sure I was going to go to this event anyway, but once I heard the Lightseekers, particularly the card game, was going to be there, and then not only were they going to be there, but they are using this as their launching point for their first official tournament.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they've had like special, little 1-day tournaments at the card shops that they visit and stuff. They held little miniature tournaments, but nothing official yet. But they are really trying to go all out. Like they're having official tournaments. I'm pretty sure they're moving into even an online ranking system and all this official competitive play, things that you see with the other big players, like I said, with Magic and Pokemon and all this stuff.
Wow.
Like they want to be in it, and this PAX Unplugged event is really kicking everything off, and that's why they're bringing in Chris and Benny, who I interview on the first 3 episodes. Actually, it was one interview, but I split it into 3 episodes.
Sure.
But Chris and Benny, those are the 2 that actually came up with this game, that created the card game.
Okay.
So they are the go-to guys, but they are flying in for PAX Unplugged. I know the CMO of PlayFusion is actually based here down in Chicago, and he will be there as well. So I know that I don't know how many people they're bringing in exactly, but those are 3 I know that I've talked to personally that I know are going to be there.
Yeah, cool. So is the tournament happening all 3 days? Like what's the schedule of events like? Do you know that?
So yeah, I was a little bit confused when PAX put out their they always put out the floor plan, the map, and you always go and look. Okay, where's their booth? Where's their booth? And I was looking on this map, and there's Lightseeker wasn't listed, PlayFusion wasn't listed, Cascade Games wasn't listed. I'm like, are you sure you're at this show? I'm pretty sure we discussed the date and the time and location. Like, I was really confused. I couldn't find anything.
Sure.
And so I contacted them, and it's like, oh, okay. So they're just going to be off in the tabletop section, which is just kind of the free play. They have the table set up and stuff. But I guess that's where they hold all their tournaments too.
Okay.
So if you've been to any PAX event, tournaments are huge. Whether or not you take part in them, that's another question. But there are constantly tournaments going on.
Right.
And so that's all Lightseekers is really planning to do, is tournaments.
Okay.
So every 3 hours, I believe, Friday is only going to be their Learn to Play events. So they're kind of like mini tournaments, but not the official tournament yet.
Sure.
So you can pay $20. You get a starter pack. That's how much the starter packs cost in stores.
Right.
$20. And for anybody that's played TCGs before, this is not your average starter pack. The starter packs that they give you are actually competitive. This is something I've heard other people complain about with other games, is that a starter pack from other games would just give you all these common cards that you're going to throw most of them out once you build your own deck.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lightseeker starter packs, they're competitive in and of themselves. Not only that, but they have 5 cards that are exclusive to the starter packs, meaning you will not be able to find them in booster packs ever. So they're very much worth the money, is what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
So they're saying the entrance fee for this Learn to Play event is $20, but you get to pick one of these starter packs and take it home with you. So you're just buying a starter pack.
Sure.
That's all it is.
And getting free tutorial on how to play.
Yeah, you're getting free how to play. You get to play a bunch of people, and then they give you some kind of I've heard about this from the other tournaments they've been at. There's some kind of credit they give you that can give you a discount on more purchases at their store than at their booth if you want to make some. Mm. So there is a little added incentive there, but I can't speak too much to that because I haven't been to one of the tournaments yet. I have to see how that works.
Yeah.
I will definitely be reporting back on that once I know how that goes. But
right. The important thing for them is this is an opportunity to get in front of a bunch of eyes that have probably never even heard of Lightseekers, much less know about the card game or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it could be really big for them.
Absolutely. So from what the schedule says right now, every 3 hours on Friday, they're going to be starting up another one of these tournaments, these Learn to Play events. Uh-huh. And then Saturday, they will still hold the Learn to Play events, from what I understand, but at, I believe, 3 p.m. I should probably look this up again. Sometime in the afternoon on Saturday, they start their first official tournament. has like a $600 prize pool, I think.
Okay.
So I mean, they're paying out cash plus booster boxes
Sure.
to all the winners,
Nice.
which I mean, for a card game like this, it's huge. Like I think first prize gets like $100 and 4 booster boxes.
Wow.
It's crazy. I can only imagine winning that. Like I don't think I'm good enough for that, but it depends how many people show up to.
Sure. Maybe you'll win
So-
by default, Matt. I mean, hopefully not for them.
No,
But
no, I definitely know. I've talked to enough people that are going to show up that I will have to play someone. But yeah, then the biggest surprise was Sunday. They're having a second tournament, which they're calling like their main event, or their they had a title for it. But that starts at 11 in the morning, and I don't know if they're expecting it to go all day or how that's going to work, but the prize pool for that, I believe, is like no, it must be $2,000,
wow.
because first place takes home $1,000,
Okay.
as well as tickets to PAX East and lodging. So I think what they really want is to get the champion from this event to what I'm assuming is their next big event at PAX East.
Okay.
So they're giving you tickets and lodging
Sure.
to the next big event, along with $1,000. I mean,
Sure. Good for them.
yeah.
Awesome. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So you're going to enjoy all of PAX Unplugged, but I have a
Yes.
feeling like you will be gravitating towards the Lightseekers area quite a bit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna feel bad about it because like I want to enjoy this show. I want to check out everybody's, but I am so into Lightseekers right now. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to this. Like I just want to hang out and play all day. But part of it is I don't have a lot of people to play with around here. I've been playing with I play with my brother via Google Hangouts.
Okay.
Like it is not ideal by any means. Like it's hard to fit all the cards like that you're playing on the screen. It just doesn't work.
Sure.
But yeah, it's I am looking forward to playing a lot of Lightseekers that weekend.
That's gonna be awesome. You're gonna be hanging out with a bunch of the community then, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like fun. I'm kind of bummed I'm not gonna be there because I'm not as big into board games as you are by any stretch of the imagination.
Sure.
But I have definitely been getting into more of them. Do you know anything else big going on at this show that's not Lightseekers related?
There's plenty of stuff going. I was surprised how well they filled up their schedule. If you're into D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, I know Critical Role is going to be there.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that they're showing up, which is a big get for any show. I mean, my best friend and I were considering. A few of the folks from Critical Role were showing up to like Anime Milwaukee, I think it was.
Okay.
It was a small little anime fest that we've never heard of, but it's like, oh, Critical Role's showing up. We should go. I'm like, okay. It's just my point being, once again, that they are a huge draw. So right. I'm surprised to see them there. Other than that, just glancing at the schedule and stuff, I saw a lot of what I expect to see at a PAX show.
Okay. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about related to your new podcast, the game itself, your website, anything like that?
I guess I'd say if you're interested in the game, if you want to learn what it's about, well, first I'd say listen to the podcast.
Sure,
and obviously you're already listening to a podcast right now, so I know you listen to podcasts. Check out Need More Buffs. Like I said, needmorebuffs.com. We are stretching for ratings and reviews right now on iTunes. That's the lifeblood of a podcast. So anything you can do there is great help. If you want to learn about the game though, and listening to the podcast isn't enough or whatever, contact me. Get a hold of me however you want to, and we will. I will gladly explain the game to you. I will gladly play the game with you if you're able to play. If you already play and you want to be on the podcast, that's an option too. You can either just contact me personally, let me know where you're coming from. Otherwise, I do have, if you go to needmorebuffs.com, actually, just so it doesn't confuse you, it does redirect you to Delivery Crab. That's where I'm posting everything. It's not a mistake. That's just how I'm handling it.
Yeah.
But if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's a link that says podcast guests, and there's a little form you can fill out and let me know that you want to be on the show. But yeah, like I said, I'm doing anything and everything I can to help this game grow.
Yeah, which is awesome. It shows, and they definitely show their appreciation. Like I saw a shout out to your website and their Kickstarter email that went out to backers.
Yeah, they've been promoting my stuff, whether it be the Delivery Crab site and now the podcast. They've been promoting it without even telling me. Yeah. It's a surprise every time it gets mentioned. I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
It's just I love how much they're supporting not only the game but the people who are supporting the game. Mm-hmm. They're supporting the community.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. It feels good to be a part of something that you could tell the creators care about,
Yeah. Yeah.
Another team that I definitely feel that way about is the Beast of Balance team.
Sure.
Yeah. They are very hands-on and very appreciative of their fan base and do everything that they can to interact with them. So it feels good to be noticed,
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm in it for. I just want to see the game grow.
Yeah, absolutely. For many different reasons, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know if Beast of Balance is going to be at PAX Unplugged?
That's a good question. I have the site pulled up now, so I can check that easily.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I would love to see a Beast of Balance tournament. That would be fun.
Every time they do something, they always keep a tally of the highest scores for the days.
Do they?
Yeah, unofficially, of course, but they always use Twitter and their social medias to brag about when somebody beats the current high score for the day.
Yeah. I don't see anything on the schedule for
Okay.
them right off the bat here, but who knows? They might have a booth somewhere.
Yeah.
There were a lot of booths there.
Right. Yeah, maybe I'll have to contact them and ask them. But yeah, Matt, I do wish you safe travels going to Philly
Thank
this
you.
time of year.
Hey, it's supposed to be nicer than it is here in Wisconsin, so.
Oh, hey, how about that?
Yeah, but we've had 20 and 30 degree weather this week, and it's supposed to be 50s while I'm there. So
Sure.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun. You'll definitely have to report back. I'm curious how it's going to go. I hope everybody the best there. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Matt, if people want to get a hold of you, if they want to meet up with you at PAX, if they want to listen to your show, if they want to check out your products, plug everything that you possibly can so people know exactly where to find you at.
All right. I haven't had to run down this list yet, so we'll see if I get in everything. If you want to contact me personally, you can find me on Twitter at @AsAMatterOfMatt. That's probably, well, actually, no, I'll be on all three of these Twitter accounts. So Delivery Crab is at @delivery_crab. Unfortunately, Delivery Crab was taken by some crab delivery service.
Naturally.
Who knew?
Like live crabs?
Yeah, I think so. At least meant for eating. I don't know if they're live or not, but who knows? And of course, at Need More Buffs is also valid as well. So that's honestly the easiest way to get a hold of me is Twitter. That's what I'm going to be on Twitter all weekend.
Sure.
All weekend. So if you want to get a hold of me, if you're going to be at the show, please get a hold of me and we'll meet up and hang out. And if you want to learn about Lightseekers, that would be a great time to do it right then and there.
Right.
In person. That honestly, that's the easiest way to learn. So, but yeah, otherwise needmorebuffs.com if you want to listen to the podcast. Otherwise, search for it on any podcast directory. It's out there. Need More Buffs.
Awesome. Well, I hope everybody goes and checks out Matt's show. If you're interested and you're looking to get into it more, check out the website. And if you're going to be in Philly this weekend and you want to say hi to Matt, he's a great fellow to hang out with. You'll have a lot of fun. I guarantee this. If not, you get your money back. Personally, from Matt.
Hey.
Matt, is it weird not using the SCL Matt Twitter handle as much anymore?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah, it is, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I used that for so many years.
Right. I mean, and that was you. I mean, in my phone, Matt, you are labeled as SCL Matt.
Yeah, I know. I still get people that refer to me in forums and such as SCL Matt, and it's like, I would love to be SCL Matt, but there's no S to talk about. So,
well, here's the thing. I think the SCL has transcended what it originally was an acronym for.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason I did it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like SCL Matt could become, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
But
it is weird though, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
I feel your pain, man. I really do. Well, thank you to everybody for listening to the show. Again, go check out all of Matt's stuff. As a friend of the show and a friend of this community, I would very much appreciate it. Colin will be back next week or later this week, probably. We're going to be doing our Nintendo episode. Matt, are you playing Mario Odyssey?
I am.
You like it, huh?
I do.
Yeah, it's really good.
Very much.
Yeah.
My wife is even playing.
What's your mood count?
Oof. I just finally got to steal a game back from her.
Okay,
so
sure.
I think I'm at 246.
Okay. Slow burn.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. I like it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. I just crossed the 750 threshold earlier today.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I got a ways to go. I know.
Yeah. It's getting to that point where the moons are just getting really hard to find and really hard to get, and I'm questioning myself, how badly do I want the full $9.99 experience?
You want it.
Oh, badly. 50 hours with it so far.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a solid game if you can put 50 hours in.
Oh, yeah. And it's one of those games where I'm picking up, I'm playing, for a moon or two or 20 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour and then put it away, not even thinking about it. Yeah. Whereas like when I was playing Zelda, it was hours and hours at a time. Giant chunks of time just gone from my life.
Well, yeah, I mean, with Zelda, you could run around for 10 minutes to 30 minutes, an hour, and collect 2 Korok feeds or something like that. Like, like it didn't feel all that rewarding. You had to keep going. Right.
Anyway, that's what Colin and I are going to be talking about this week. Mario Odyssey. More Mario Odyssey. Lots of Mario Odyssey. If you want to find Colin on Twitter, you could reach out to him at PDX_geek. As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at The Noise. That's with a Y. You could also follow the show at Joys of Games. And Matt, thank you so much for doing this. But we need to cut this podcast off so we can go talk about Harry Potter. We have very important things to discuss over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. For anybody listening that has no idea what I'm talking about, Tales from Godric's Hollow. It's a podcast about Harry Potter. I'm reading Harry Potter for the first time. You should come and join us. It's the best Harry Potter book club podcast in the world, according to J.K. Rowling herself. Thank you all for listening. Go out there, play some games, enjoy them. Good night.